a pretty interesting map choice from Amanda. I mean, the opening is huge, so it's understandable. Get a good concave and whatnot.
Um,
You
yeah,
want
so spawning in on the right side of the map, we have our red complexity RSVP, and in the bottom, we have our green Zerg, Amandel.
Amanda.
Amandel.
So icy bug, test bug. I mean, this map.
Icy Cup.
What?
You said Icy Bug.
Again?
Icy Cup test bug.
Test bug. Icy
Yes.
cup test bug. What I was going to say is that the reason why I would pick this as a Zerg player is that if you can get into the mid game, the ways of attacking are a lot easier for the Zerg player. There's a lot of open places to get a good concave with roaches and hydras, and good places to attack with corruptors. I mean, going into the mid to late game, it's very hard for Protoss to engage unless they're actually the ones attacking into the Zerg. Again, there's just so many open areas to get a good concave around the Protoss Death Ball, as some may call it.
Yeah, and another thing to note is that the gold and the 3rd/4th base for the Zerg are really easy to take, and they are away from the opponent. Those are really the bases that the games hinge on. We saw Idra take those 2 bases versus MVP, and then he was looking really good until he early quit.
That was
Um,
MMA.
I'm sorry, MMA. And we do see the same build here out of RSVP doing that little bit of potential pressure.
Potential pressure. I like it. Yeah, he's going for the Forge opening again, so he's very comfortable with this. I'm curious to see whether or not he decides to go for the +1 timing again. I mean, that's shown to be very, very strong. Looking back in that last game, I'm really curious to know why did he go for such a heavy Zealot composition. I mean, you see most Protoss at that point of the game, if they're going for a late gateway, they tend to go for a lot of sentries and stalkers and more micro-intensive, but he just went for a very large Zealot count.
Yeah, I think what he's counting on is the is just the unit count to be lower for the Zerg player, because the Zealots are going to do the damage if they can get in contact with the Zerg units, especially with that +1. So he's just trying to really overrun the Zerg player. We saw that he did have a lot of a lot of Zealots, yeah?
A lot of Zealots. He did have a lot of Zealots, but what Amanda did not have a lot of is roaches, which he's producing right now without a base up.
It looks like he's, going to do a roach sling all in here. With no scouting from RSVP, it's going to be really difficult for him to hold this. He needs about three more cannons and at least 1 sentry out.
Yeah,
he's not going to have time for that.
I think Amanda is going for a little bit of a meta game at this point. I mean, he knew last game that RSVP went for a very, very risky cannon opening. Did he see that expansion? Yes, he did. So RSVP did see the expansion go down. Will he throw more cannons down in response to these roaches? And he does. 1 more cannon is coming up now.
And I don't like these cannon placements. That fat cannon is not going to hit any roaches. All these are on 1 pylon. This is really dangerous.
Well, the 3rd cannon just went up now. Another pylon being put down as well. Roaches are now streaming in. Just 3 of them. They will be able to deny this 1 cannon. It does get canceled, but as you said, the placement of this other cannon is just not efficient.
Yep. See, those roaches are going to sit there all day. He needs to pull some probes, but probes are really bad against roaches.
Is he going to get this expansion?
What can RSVP do? He has 2 zealots on the way, but those can be kited.
I mean, I'm loving the play from Amanda right now. He's playing this absolutely perfectly. He's not overcommitting to this pressure. He's continuing to make drones. He knows he has the advantage here, and he's just taking advantage of having the advantage. But, I mean, he's just not overcommitting. It's absolutely perfect. He's made RSVP pull probes when he didn't want to. The Zealot's about to die, and what does he have coming? Just 1 stalker.
And see...
Oh, no.
Amandal's actually lagging. Amandal is 13 food ahead and 6 workers ahead, not to mention that all of RSVP's probes are at his main. Some of them aren't even mining.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, the supply difference is heavily in the favor of Amando, but not only that, the worker count is also in the favor of Amando. I mean, that early pressure really allowed him to get a heavy lead. RSVP was denied mining. He had to throw an extra cannon down. I'm sure his build got altered just a little bit. It's definitely not the same that it was last game. So, very well played by Amando, not going all in at all, throwing a little bit of a pressure in, and it worked tremendously well.
Of course, Amando didn't have that knowledge before he pushed, but I think if he would have just Roachling all in on 2 base, he would have killed RSVP.
I do agree with you, but he wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, and he went with the more standard solid play, which is, you know, always a better option when you come to a tournament and you really just want to play your most standard solid StarCraft.
That's good. If you want to play standard, you play standard. Thank you, Ben. But Zergling's on the way for Amando, and speed is actually about to get done in just a few minutes here. Probably actually 1 game in minute. And Ventral Sat's being upgraded for Amando, so he's going to be choosing to go for some drop play, I suppose.
I think these are good base placement for that, because the back of RSVP's base is huge. And he does have a pylon back there, but if you get a good drop and no counterattack, and deny the counterattack because the map is so big, you can just GG a Protoss player right there because he has to keep his army together.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's also going for Baneling, so it looks like the Baneling drops are going to be a factor in this. So, I mean, harassment definitely can play a role in this, and not only that, I mean, just straight up encounters, Baneling drops are extremely good. Force Wars get completely neglected, and it's very hard to micro against. So this is a pretty good decision from Amando.
Yeah, and RSVP is visibly shaken here by that early game pressure.
Look at his chrono.
A lot of chrono boost.
Yeah, I mean, he has 100 energy on his first, and that's just 65 on his other. His macro is slipping just a bit. He's definitely deterring from the build he did before. He's going for a Robo, getting that Observer out right now, but he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gateways. 2 of them on the way. So is he going to go for another 1 base push again?
That would be 2 bases.
2 base.
Yeah, I think he's going to do an Immortal timing here. He has a lot of gas built up.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised to see a 2 base Colossus push, but he does know that Amando has to be going Roaches to defend. So maybe just massing up Immortals is a smart decision. Amando gonna scout that Robo.
Yeah, I mean, Vengeful Sats is up for Amando. A Twilight Council going down for RSVP, and a lot of Banelings on the field, so I really want to see Amando go for some drop play on the mineral line, harass RSVP just a little bit, and get that much more ahead in this game. I mean, if Amando decides to play this out correctly, he's definitely going to win this game. He already has the advantage of going for his 3rd base now at a perfect time. No harassment is going to be coming out of RSVP anytime soon. He's in a dominant position to win this game.
Actually, during all of our long breath talking,
yes.
Amando has slipped on drones, and he is now 12 drones behind.
Really?
Yeah, and it's 2 base versus 2 base, and taking that 3rd is really hard for a Zerg, man. These Banelings have to do massive drop damage.
Yeah, I mean, he's moving up with these Overlords up front that are empty. Roaches from behind. But what does RSVP have to defend? Stalkers, Immortals, and a few cannons?
Yeah,
Is it going to be enough?
Immortal drops. I am not sure. He might be able to hold the front, but will these Banelings do the damage?
In the back, I'm looking at the back of the base. We have Zerglings dropping in, but at the front, more importantly, we have Banelings being dropped on the army. Roaches in the front taking the cannons down, and these Overlords are still full of units.
And all of those probes are going down in the main. 1 Baneling, and the Zerglings will clean up the rest.
Wow.
We are seeing 40, 50, 55, 56, 58, 59.
60 drone kills.
60 drone kills.
60 drone kills coming from Amando. GG from RSVP. Perfect play from Amando. That was, dare I say, excellent? Because it was.
It was excellent. I agree.